It's my future, it's my life.
You are my son.
Then why don't you trust me?
Trust! What you have done is lie.
It means that one has to stop his search for Tyr.
I swear it's for a good reason.
There is no good reason
You
to
have
go
broken
down.
my trust.
What's got everyone caterwauling?
He doesn't have any faith in me.
Want me to trust you, then tell me the
The
truth.
truth is you're being a complete asshole. Let go of me.
Listen!
I said let go!
Why? Atreus, wait!
Yeah, I don't think he's waiting.
What is the nature of trust? Is it a product of honesty, of consistency? Or how about trust is fragile? Trust is more easily lost than gained, but most importantly for this story, trust is earned. Not to Atreus, though. Atreus believes that trust is something you are entitled to because of who you are, rather than something you have to build. Atreus constantly breaks the trust of others, and yet expects it from them. Atreus is unambiguously the most well-meaning character in the entire story, and the road to Ragnarok is paved with his good intentions. Atreus will lie, he will hide, and he will be responsible for the consequences of his actions. This is the story of Atreus, the Pathological Optimist. God of War Ragnarok makes Atreus' nature clear from the very first moments of the game, as in the opening scene, we see him curiously marveling at a marble in his hands, only to hide it away from Kratos. This very small interaction is indicative of both who he has been during the time skip between games and who he is going to be for more than half of this one. Curious and inquisitive with regards to his heritage and destiny, as this is a soul marble from the giants, but also secretive and deceptive, particularly when it comes to his father, Kratos. As early as before you leave the forest, Atreus is established as a near pathological liar. In just the first 2 hours of the game, he lies to Kratos 5 times and acts out of line 5 times, among other things. Hiding the soul marble in the opening, hiding the fact that he's been searching for Tyr behind Kratos' back, omitting details of his conversation with Odin, about how much giant information he's discovered, keeping up Sindri's lie even after Kratos knows that it's a lie, refusing to train with him, telling Kratos what to do, rationalizing his disobedience instead of taking responsibility for it, ignoring Kratos' orders, and most embarrassingly, contradicting and exposing the lie about how much giant information he's discovered, which he told Kratos literally 1 sentence ago. Atreus even knows he's out of line, and that his pursuit of Tyr has strained his relationship with Kratos for no effective results. After his excursion with Sindri, something that Atreus also lies about, he tells Sindri that he knows Kratos won't go along with this forever. Yet in spite of this, Atreus has the audacity to tell Kratos to trust him on multiple occasions, a notion which Kratos responds to appropriately.
Trust me, you'll want to.
Trust! You have broken my trust.
Trust which Atreus never does anything to earn back. In fact, he only pushes Kratos further away. When Kratos agrees to follow him to the old temple in the Wildwood, Atreus refuses to explain why they're going. He hides his interest in Tyr's aptitude for war behind the veil of study. While searching for Tyr in Svartalfheim's mines, he disrespects his father again.
So knock it off.
Watch yourself.
He tosses the food that was made for him and storms off at dinner. He lies about where he had been beforehand. And all of these actions are dominantly driven by ifs. If anyone knows my destiny, if Tyr is out there somewhere, if Tyr has been locked up all this time, if he's helped the giants before, if the giants are counting on me, if Loki going to Ironwood is the only way to...
Atreus. My son. And nothing more. Do you hear me?
All of Atreus' hiding and lying are there for the express purpose of preserving the pursuit of his destiny, his pursuit of who Loki is. This is a goal which Atreus openly recognizes Kratos would not and indeed does not approve of, if for no other reason than the fact that this pursuit is rooted in uncertain information governed by little more than ifs. But then something happens which no amount of his lying could hide. In his sleep, Atreus was whisked off to the Ironwood in Jotunheim. He did not mean to leave, but after arriving there and learning of his destiny, he promised Angerboda, one of the only other still living giants, that he would never tell anyone, not even his father, of Ironwood's existence. Because of this, he would be faced with having to explain his multi-day absence to Kratos.
What were you thinking?
I wanted to visit Fenrir.
For 2 days?
Do
not lie to me again!
Kratos, following his experience from the last game and the wise counsel of Mimir, has been allowing Atreus to pursue what Atreus thinks is necessary. The boy is clearly set on finding Tyr and is incredibly frustrated by the reality that uncovering the nature of his role in the giant's prophecies isn't the top priority. Understanding this frustration, Kratos, in spite of his own disapproval and better judgment, gives his son a chance. In spite of Atreus' betrayal, his lies, and his belligerence, Kratos gives him the opportunity to prove himself and pursue his passion.
I tried to walk this path with you. We follow your every whim.
But you don't believe in any of it.
And still I follow.
Atreus, however, doesn't respect the value in any of this. For because Kratos does not agree with him, Kratos' efforts and willingness to follow mean nothing to him. And this only gets worse as Atreus begins to shift his views. After having found Tyr, Atreus also happens to find another giant prophecy showing the fall of Asgard. The title he read, Champion of the Giants, begins to echo in his mind, and his sense of purpose only deepens. His motivation to pursue his destiny was not quelled after their journey as Kratos may have hoped, but instead, their discoveries have spurred Atreus toward Asgard. For you see, in the beginning of the game, while Thor was keeping Kratos busy, Odin had a private word with Atreus, planting dreams in the boy's mind. And Odin, in Tyr's guise, continues to grow the boy's drive until Atreus is so tied to the idea that in order to move forward, he must go to Asgard, that he betrays the trust of everyone who had yet believed in him.
Why don't you trust me?
If you want me to trust you, then tell me the truth.
The truth is you're being a complete asshole. It's fine if he keeps secrets. It's fine if Mom did.
It is not fine.
Oh, okay. So you don't believe in her anymore either?
This is not about your mother.
That's quite enough.
Since when do you always take his side?
Since he became the one making sense.
But I swear it's for a good reason.
There is no good reason to go to Odin.
I gotta stop something bad from happening.
Something bad did happen. Look at me, at Freya, and Tyr. Odin did this to us.
You must choose who you are going to be. Are you going to continue to lie and keep things from me? Or are you my son?
I never get to choose. Just leave me alone.
Listen.
Let go of me!
Listen!
I said let go!
Everyone, from Kratos to Mimir, from Freya to the dwarves, had always been openly against Odin and Asgard at any cost and on any principle. Atreus, however, had become so married to the idea that he must go to Asgard for answers that he internalizes everyone's rejection of Asgard and Odin as instead a rejection of himself. This is why he says,
Great. I guess everybody's against me now.
no one has ever been against Atreus, but they have always been against Odin. The moment that Atreus chose the unknown benefits of meeting Odin over the known values and pain of his father and friends, Atreus chose to go against everyone who had ever trusted him, not the other way around. It was his own sense of self-righteousness that irrationally blamed everyone else for siding against him, unable to accept that he himself was the one who had changed sides. It was this childish action that prompted Kratos to treat Atreus like the boy he was being. And yet, As terrible as all of this makes Atreus obviously seem, it belies the truth. The reality is that all of Atreus' misdeeds have been governed by a sense of childlike optimism. Atreus is defensive and combative not because he hates his father or wants to disobey him overtly, but simply because he is a teenage boy, a young man who feels unheard by those who claim to love him, and one who suffers from an immense conflict within his own fractured identity. As a child, he was raised as a mortal boy, something which came to have dire consequences for him. His biology understood what his psychology had denied. He was born a god, and the cognitive dissonance between who he physically is and who he had believed himself to be was tearing him apart. After that, he had been raised as Atreus, the son of the Greek god of war, Kratos, but had also discovered that the giants, and indeed his very mother, knew him as Loki. Now, he wrestles with who he has been raised to be, and with whom he believes he is meant to become. And instead of it destroying him, it is instead destroying the relationships that he has with those around him. Even if we dismiss the immaturity of his age and the struggle of his identity, his reason for doggedly pursuing his destiny is defined not by a need for self-actualization, but by something that he has in common with his father. Kratos cares for nothing except for the safety of Atreus, which brings about their conflict time and time again. Atreus, on the other hand, is privy to a prophecy claiming that Kratos will die in Ragnarok. He seeks to become the champion he was destined to be, not for glory, but for salvation. Not for himself, but for his father. Atreus is determined to save and protect Kratos by preventing Ragnarok, even if it goes against Kratos' wishes. A lesson in selfish care that Atreus no doubt learned in his childhood from Kratos himself, as he witnessed Kratos save Freya, even though it went against her wishes. Atreus shows the depth of his care for Kratos, as well as the depth of his naivety, when he has his mental breakdown at the prophecy in Ironwood. His breakdown shows that despite his intent on stopping or beating Odin, he doesn't really think about the context of anyone needing to die for it, especially not his father. He is dedicated to finding a solution, but doesn't fully consider the consequences of his pursuits, as also shown when he dismisses the idea that Freya would ever try to kill him after Sindri warns him against seeing her. Even shortly before dealing with his mistakes in Hell, when Kratos questions the idea of Atreus using Odin instead of the other way around, Atreus says this:
You cannot outsmart Odin.
It's worked so far.
Has it?
Atreus, coincidentally, almost always happens to be right, which leads him to feeling as though his ends justify his means. His progress never brings about any consequences, so why would he heed the warnings of those telling him to stop? This shows Atreus' ignorance that it is entirely possible, if not likely, that his plans or pursuits could have failed at any point, and he or any number of people he loved could have been killed for his foolishness. As childish as it is, Atreus genuinely did not see the potential risks or consequences of his actions until the incident with Garm.
There was a wolf in hell. He's in chains and I set him free. I thought that if...
Garm? Great bleeding fuck, lad, you freed Garm!
If the Hound of Hell is loose, he'll chew through the fabric
What
of the
would
realms.
drive you to such mischief?
Hellwalkers are just
Is this
the
no
beginning.
king's
What
doing?
were you thinking?
Enough!
But when his noble intentions do finally fail him, instead of being combative, instead of being defensive, instead of being disrespectful, he learns, he grows, and he admits that he was wrong.
Without you, I got reckless. Overconfident. Made stupid mistakes. I don't know why I thought I could do this alone. You were right.
No. On our journey together, you have grown into a warrior. worthy of your namesake.
After Kratos and Atreus have this conversation, Atreus begins to be more honest. He opens up to the group about what he was doing in Asgard, and clearly shares the details of his future plans. He no longer dismisses the counsel of those he trusts, even intentionally asking Mimir not just if he agrees with the plan, but openly inviting Mimir to tell Atreus if he is wrong. It was this moment in Helheim when the lying and optimistic boy had to confront the consequences of his actions that Atreus grew to be an honest man. Thank you all so much for watching. Please consider supporting the channel by either becoming a member or a patron, and I will see you, yes you, next time.